What is up, my Work With Me crew? How are you guys doing? Another week, another video, and a ton of good topics. You guys know I am putting research into these, finding very current reseller topics. A lot of them are Poshmark related too, but today we got a bunch. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Tabs. I'm a Canadian reseller. I'm a wife, a mom to 2 girls. I work part-time at a hospital in the pharmacy department, and I sell people's used clothing, and that's my jam. I love it. So today we're going to be doing a work with me video. This is where you find a task that you need to get done, and I'm going to be your coworker. I'm going to keep you company. We're going to talk like coffee room chat and all the things that are going on. Please jump in the comments. Give your feedback, any thoughts you have. This is a safe space for all of us to just kind of share our thoughts. And I think the community, we grow together when we share together and support each other. That being said, drop in the comments. That's where the good stuff is. Today's topics, there's so many to go over again. I apologize. I feel like these videos are just getting longer and longer. There is no lack of topics to discuss. So I have a couple things I've seen in live shows. I had a really weird case. There's a reseller that I feel like has been like watching me from afar for 2.5 years, and I finally know what they look like thanks to live shows. Poshmark is under investigation for fraud. We're going to talk about that. And I suspected this when the whole buyout happened. Like, I know there was talk of like things that were going on. It was brought to my attention that there is a case against them right now, and this may have an impact on what's going on in the app. I also have some weird things that happened, I think, that I saw in a live show that came from Poshmark headquarters. So we're going to talk about that. Taxes a little bit on GST. I'm not giving tax advice, but someone messaged me with a question, and I thought that this is a really good topic to discuss in here, especially with the end of the year coming up. And then just a few more little things sprinkled in there. You know me, don't want to waste your time. Let's jump right into this. So if you're new, this is that work with me video. You guys are my crew. We are working together. I'm not working, I'm just keeping you company, but I feel like this is going to keep your company really well while you do the tasks you got to do. Life update, business update. I feel like for the work part, like my other job working in the hospital, shifts have been, now that I'm working at multiple sites, I've been able to get the shifts kind of that I'm wanting. For right now, I guess it's meeting my needs. I've talked about it before. I'm just not really ready to give it up, and it's a lot harder for me, like even if I gave up my pharmacy tech license, it's a lot harder for me to relicense than it is to just keep trying to, meet the minimum. And Jeff and I kind of talked about it the other day, and I think I am going to have to do some reassessing next year on, okay, what are the minimum amount of hours I have to work to keep my benefits, amount of hours to keep my license current, things like that. And then how do I prioritize everything? And it's so hard because the resale market's all over the place. So it's really hard for me to make that decision to jump into my reselling full time and to walk away from my steady job when reselling is like, I don't know, it's all over the place right now. You guys know sales are everywhere and they're hard to make happen. And one day is like this and the next day there's no sales. I've never had more no sale days in all of the days I've been selling as I have in the last like month or two. I do think live auctions are having an impact on that. Obviously, we are all onto that now. We know they are hugely affecting our sales, but yeah. We're also trying to like plan out our Christmas and the days off we have and where we're going. No one lives in the city we live in. So if you have this similar issue, you spend your holidays traveling. So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out right now, is where we're going to be and making everything work while we still get that family time with our kids, where we get downtime, because I don't know, I just think it's so important for us to have our own time as well, and to just, decompress, because the next month is crazy. Like, it's stressful. I hate to sound like a Grinch, but I actually don't really like Christmas. And I think it's because I've been a mom for 20 years and there's so much pressure on us at Christmas time, like to buy gifts and to like make it magical, and the food and like everything going on. I don't know, it's just turned into like a month that I just don't really love. And I love spending time with my family and I love spending time with my kids, but I'm kind of a Grinch. It's just not my favorite season because I feel like I'm just so stressed all the time and it makes me like super anxious, and I'm like trying to get all my Christmas shopping done right away because that stuff will like keep me up at night. But that's like my personal stuff that's going on. We're working on our ambulance on the weekend, so we have a lot of stuff on the go. As for my business, this current week we just had, sales are like bad, like 50% of what I normally see. And I just did my what sold video, and I know I had like a really good 2.5 weeks, but this last week has been bad. And I ran an aggressive Black Friday sale all week. Like I started on Monday, I'm running it till tomorrow, till Cyber Monday, and it's bundle and save 40%. So I'm giving discounts, but the likes just aren't there. You know what I mean? Like likes, I used to get so many likes coming into my closet, and now I can look at a 24-hour period and it's like maybe 15. And I used to be able to look at like 30. Like I don't know, the activity on the app I'm noticing is decreasing right now. So I'm hoping that it's just people are, getting some Christmas shopping done. Black Friday was happening. I've said before, I can't compete with Black Friday prices. So I'm okay to just sit on the fence for a week and a half, let it simmer, not giving away my inventory and, be ready to attack in, another week or so. So that's kind of where I am for my business. Yeah. I'm trying to just ride it out, just ride out the wave and like pray that things are going to start to get better at this point. Okay, so let's jump into the topics. First one that I had is this uncomfortable, I had it as an uncomfortable comment. So what happened was I sold a bundle in my live sale, and the buyer opened up a case and said that there was markings on the leggings. And I was like, I looked at the pictures, which I automatically, as soon as someone sends me a picture and it's like overexposed and it's like super zoomed in, you know what I mean? I already question the case, because to me, it's like, it's just not very clear. You know what I mean? Anyways, this person's a reseller. I have blocked them on everything because I just saw this blowing up and getting bigger than it really was supposed to be. And I apologized for it. As soon as I saw it, I just said, I'm sorry, I must have missed that. So I'm actually going to read you guys the thread of conversation because it just did not sit with me well, like not at all. Okay, so what she commented, she said, the photos did not show the stain. I assume I cannot return, so I accepted the item as I thought I had no choice. And I comment, she had like her photos or whatever, and I commented, I did not see that when I listed them. I'm sorry. And then I was like, that's just like my automatic response. And then I was like, kind of thinking, okay, I should probably invite Posh into this conversation. Right away, she messages, I was quite disappointed for $45 for the leggings, but as per description, I knew I had no case for Poshmark resolution. In the Posh show, you said the leggings were in great condition. I showed to trust your word, and the condition was not great. What can you do for me? Right away, oh, she says, what can you do for me? And in brackets, besides the apologies. And I'm like, whoa, okay, so like, are you trying to get me to send you money? Like she's a seller. She knows, I don't know. This was weird. And then she said, the Posh show is new, and I guess there's a loophole that does not really protect consumer in the part when an article is not exact, the oral description given in the show. And I was like, okay, like, holy smolies. And then she said, I bought many items from shows and just received from another show, and the other show is all in perfect condition. And I'm like, hey, I said, I was sorry, I missed it, obviously, but I, in my head, am questioning this. And so my response to her, because really, like, when she's like, what else can you do for me? I can't do anything else. And I said, I can do nothing for you. You would have to open a case for this. And then after like reading the conversation in my head one more time, I actually commented and said, I feel uncomfortable how this conversation is going. Like, I just put that in there because if Posh is going to read it, I want them to know that I'm uncomfortable with this. She invited Posh into the conversation, and then I stated I would like to see better pictures further back and in a natural lighting, because again, I'm questioning the integrity of this item. Like, I looked at these items I looked at those pants a couple times. I actually sourced them for myself. So I find it just hard that I missed something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up blocking her because, well, first of all, I thought the conversation could still happen if I blocked her, but I don't think it does. Anyways, I blocked her on Poshmark because I was just like, I don't want to sell to a person like this again. There's something weird about the conversation. Like, what else can you do for me besides apologies? I don't know. That's not how you ask. That's not how you communicate, right? So yeah, she actually was quite upset with me and went a step further. So Poshmark did a resolution. I think without me, they released the funds to me. Plus I think they refunded her maybe for the entire bundle. But then she also left feedback and gave me a 1 star. And at first I didn't realize that as soon as they give you less than a 5-star review, that it doesn't show up, you know, for everyone else to read. I actually thought that everyone else could read this, but it is just me. But anyways, she said Lululemon leggings had a stain, but since it was a live show, I thought I could not return, and I was terribly disappointed for trusting the person's word during the live Posh show the item was in great condition, when in reality, the item had stains and a few spots. I am also disappointed how the customer service was terrible. When I contacted her, she did not take responsibility when I contacted her, and she was rude to the point of blocking me because she did not think she did anything wrong. Okay, first thing I said was I was sorry. That is taking responsibility for a case. Although I think what pissed her off was that I requested further photos. I'm sure that was probably salt in the wound, but I think I have the right to. If you're opening a case against my items, I would like better photos if you're saying that the item was damaged, because I am 99% sure that that item was not damaged. She said, people need to learn that mistakes have consequences and own their mistakes, and customers have rights. I had a terrible experience with this person, never buying again from her. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Which is fine because I blocked her and she will never buy from me again, because guess what? The feeling is mutual. I never want to deal with you again as well. But I was just like, from the comments in the case to the comments on here, wow, I have never had this. Actually, I've sold over 3,500 items on Poshmark, and I guess I'm just very fortunate. I have never had something like this, and like, to be honest, this is almost enough to like really push me away from live selling, because I think that this is going to become a common thing. So something that I noticed when I pushed my ASP higher and I started selling items over $45, I will be honest with you guys, I've seen a drastic change in the amount of cases, and not like, and like petty case, you know, where the case where like it doesn't fit right. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't get weird, crazy cases anymore. I feel like you see a lot of that more often when you sell lower ASP, and it's always the item that I give someone a really good deal on, that they're getting like, you know, for $20 or whatever. Those are the items that always are a case. I think Posh shows just opens it up to those types of buyers. Now, there are sellers that sell damaged goods and like flaws and don't disclose them, and I apologize. That sucks. That is not me. I sell good quality items. I typically do not sell flawed items. I don't source flawed items, and I catch it before they go into a sale. So yeah, so many things felt uncomfortable with that. I just had to share it because I know other people go through similar things, and I've read your guys' cases. I read all the comments on the cases from the last video, and I'm always like, oh wow, I've never had that happen. And sometimes when I say things, I'm like, I need to shut my mouth because that's just like opening it up for them to happen, right? Like the knock on wood. But whatever. It happened. It was resolved, but I definitely just felt really uncomfortable the way everything was worded in it, and her last remark, like, come on, stop it. Okay, moving along. The next topic I want to talk about was Poshmark's Secondhand Sunday. So they had been pumping this up since Posh Fest, and everyone was like, what is this? What's going on? To be honest, like I've said before, I don't really fall into Poshmark's propaganda anymore. And I feel like a lot of times it's a push for us to advertise for them, to do free advertising, to put it on our Instagrams, to bring more people to the app. And I'm just not into it. I don't think that, yeah, whatever. To each their own. It's just not something that I personally do. So I actually had someone reach out to me and say, like, it's Secondhand Sunday. What is Poshmark doing, you know, to make this a like a user-friendly thing? So of course I hop onto Poshmark Canada, which there's been very minimal activity about it, and it's kind of what I was expecting. It was more hype to get us talking about it, to get us sharing our, you know, our closets and trying to advertise and get people to hop onto Secondhand Sunday, and Posh coining the term Secondhand Sunday. Their remark, like I read their post on Instagram, and it was like to help their sellers. Helping our sellers, how about you do discounted shipping? How about, like, for 3 hours on Secondhand Sunday, we are offering discounted shipping to anyone that makes a purchase? How about I don't have to drop my prices for people to get discounted shipping? Like, I just feel like there's so many other marketing ways they could go at this and probably have a larger impact and make this more of a thing, but it just didn't hit the mark for me. Again, I don't know. Sometimes the decisions just don't hit the mark. I did go into Poshmark US, like on poshmark.com or whatever, like on the Poshmarks one for the US, and they did do some advertising and they were shouting out some sellers, and I think that's what they should have done. I think this should have been like Small Business Saturday or whatever. They should have shouted out closets. They should have been sharing items that were on Poshmark that were for sale. Like, there was so many ways they could have marketed this and really made this a thing for the community, but I didn't feel it. It wasn't there. I didn't jump on. I didn't do anything because I feel like it's Secondhand Monday, Secondhand Tuesday, Secondhand Thursday. Like, every day of the week is that. And you got to offer more if you're going to try and make this a thing. But whatever, that's just my opinion. I know I sound jaded, and I don't mean to be negative so much, but I just feel so disappointed often with Poshmark, and more because they try and create this like active community and we're Posh love, but again, I don't think our love languages are the same. I think my love language and Poshmark's love language are two different things. And yeah, as an app, I will sell. I make good money typically on there, but the Posh love, it's just fake. It's so fake. So yeah, I think you just have to be careful which trends you're jumping on with them. That's my 2 cents. And this was brought up from a viewer, so I think it's worth bringing up. And I would love to know, did you do Secondhand Sunday? Did you feel like it was, you know, advertised? Did you feel like you made some extra sales? I'd love to know. I actually don't think I sold anything today. I think I'm having a no sale day right now. Yeah, I haven't had a sale. So poo on Second Sunday. That's such a bad idea. That's not how I feel, but you guys know, you know. Okay. So here's a big topic, and I felt like I knew this was coming and I just forgot about it, and I think we're just like, Poshmark's so good at sweeping things under the rug, but they are under investigation for shareholder fraud. And Mandy brought up a really good comment on my last video, and she said she did some digging, and she was like, you know, it's in Poshmark's best interest right now to keep the value of the company down because they undersold the shares when they sold them, or potentially are selling them to Naver, and that's what the whole lawsuit is about. So she's like, she was saying from the other hand, you know, maybe Poshmark doesn't want their app to be blowing up right now with crazy amounts of sales and everyone making lots of money, because it would mean that the Poshmark as a business is worth more than what they valued it at the point of the sale. So here's the, I actually Googled it because I was like, hey, I got to see if this is a real thing. And this is it. So the investigation seeks to determine whether Poshmark's officers and directors failed to maximize the buyout price for Poshmark's stockholders, or otherwise breached their fiduciary, I don't know how to say that word, I'm sorry guys, duties in agreeing to sell the company to Naver. Poshmark shareholders are encouraged to contact this law firm. And actually, as you scroll down, there's other law firms right now that are all doing cases. Like there's another one, an investor rights law firm is investigating whether the sale of Poshmark to Naver for $17.90 per share in cash is fair to Poshmark shareholders. They're encouraging shareholders to contact them. Like, there's just a long list. So if you hold shares in Poshmark and you are upset that you paid $41 for your shares, and you know, like a year and a half later they're selling them for 17 to another company, you need to contact one of these lawsuits, because you may get some money out of it. So speaking of that case and that girl mentioning, like, because this is a Posh live show, I have no guarantee, things like that. You know what was funny is I was talking to Sarah Stiles about how she was doing her listings, and she was doing full listings instead of the quick listing, because she said with the quick listing, she said, I feel like I'm going to have a higher chance of cases because it's not a full description, it's not all pictures. So she said she was going the route for her live shows that she was going to be doing full descriptions, pictures with a description, so that she was able to cover her butt basically. And that way everything was, you know, they had visual proof of the items or could look at them prior to purchasing. And when she told me that, I was like, oh, I don't think that'd be a problem. Like, in my head, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be a problem, because the items I'm selling are in excellent condition. I don't typically sell a lot of items that have flaws. I don't buy liquidation. I have really good sourcing, you know, locally that I can use. So I don't have this issue. But man, 1 point for Sarah. 1 point for Sarah. She was right. And this is exactly it. Of course, I had, you know, a couple items in the show that I created listings for, but I didn't do a bunch of pictures for because I was just trying to get them listed. I did do the full listing so I could do the style tags and the brands and yeah, all that other stuff in there. But that's why I'm wondering if, you know, if you're going to be doing live shows, if you are best to do full listings, pictures of front and back, couple detailed shots, and then, you know, doing a little bit of description. And this is just there to cover your butt. But I don't know. I feel like Poshmark, I've been in 2 cases, I think, recently, and both times Poshmark has paid us both out, where I felt like 6 months or a year ago, if you had a case, you were rolling the dice, and if you didn't win, you weren't getting money. They were, you know, awarding it to the buyer. So I would love to know if you've had any cases recently, what has been the outcome? Was it like a buyer outcome, buyer, seller, mutual? How are they deciding cases? I just feel like right now they're like writing checks to everyone. It's like, yep, you get your money back. Yep, you're getting the money for the item, and they're making the problems disappear. I don't know. It just seems so odd because this was not how they were handling cases, you know, prior. It's just weird. I'm noticing a shift in their customer service and what they're doing. But yeah, I would love to know your 2 cents on that, because I feel like I've read it in the comments a couple of times that other people are seeing this too. All right. Okay, so I feel like I have so much about these live sales, but it's just because there's so much going on. So something I saw last week, and I actually had a couple of people reach out to me about this, was Poshmark Canada was doing a live show, and they decided during the live show that they were going to auction off swag boxes. Now, these are boxes that they give for free. A lot of these items are items that you would get for free if you spoke at, say, PoshFest, or you hosted like a Posh and Sip. If you host a community event in your local community, like a Posh and Sip, I don't even know what they call them, listing parties, like they have 3 different kind of parties that you can do to help other resellers in your community. But if you host one of those events, they'll actually mail you a box, and it comes with like pens and stickers and postcards and all this paraphernalia to basically, you know, give away during your little live event, right? I only did events during the pandemic, so I never actually did them in person, and it was always virtually. So I would get this swag box and I was like, this is crazy. Like, what am I doing with all this? I don't actually see any of these people. It's all virtual. But when I saw them open them up, to me, they looked like if you had spoke at an event, like if you had spoke at a Posh Live or whatever. And I was shocked that they were auctioning them off. So like, I don't know, PR, marketing, I don't have a degree in it, but I feel like if I was at Poshmark, I would be like, we're going to crack open these swag boxes, and anyone that makes a purchase tonight, you know, of our items, because it was all personal items from employees that worked at Poshmark headquarters in Canada, we are going to toss in some items from the swag box. Like, items that you already have that you give away for free. Why not like gift them to potential buyers, like people that are supporting your show and buying items? No, they did not. They decided that they were going to auction these boxes off. I actually saw one of the boxes get sold for $51. And I know they've done this a couple times, so I don't know what all the boxes are selling for, but one of them that I saw sold for $51, and I just couldn't believe it. So someone paid $51 plus $13.50 to ship it, because there's no shipping discounts during live shows, to get items that they were giving away for free to other resellers. I don't know, this just did not sit well with me, and it obviously did not sit well with a couple other people, because I got like 2 or 3 DMs from people that were like, is this happening? Like, aren't those items they give away? And they were like, this is weird. Like, it actually made people feel uncomfortable. And I felt bad, because it's probably going to be, and I don't know who bought them, but I feel like it's probably going to be newer poshers that, you know, are excited to have some Poshmark, you know, swag, pens, whatever else was in there. And I don't know. I think they should have gave it away. I think if their community was showing up to support head office and buy items, those should have been given away to people that bought items. I think that should have been a gift to buyers that were buying their items. But that's just my 2 cents. I don't know. If you feel differently, go ahead, drop in the comments. I could be totally wrong. Maybe you guys think like, hell yeah, auction that stuff off. I don't know. I just wasn't for me. Okay, so next topic. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about this again, but I hate to keep talking about these lives, but I think we're all on the same page with this. They've had their time. It's over. It is time to move on. But it's these notifications. I find these so annoying, and you cannot shut them off. They continue to come through. You can shut it off so that they don't email you or they don't do push notifications, but they're all in the news feed. And the only way for these to stop showing up in your news feed is to unfollow the sellers. That is the only way at this point. I think that that's counterproductive, because all that's going to happen is that people are going to start unfollowing resellers because it's clogging up their own news feeds. Because you got to think, it's annoying to us as resellers, but could you imagine being a buyer on the app and you're just getting bombarded with these, you know, Posh Live, Posh Live, Posh Live. And if you're not even into buying on Posh Live, which if we look at the amount of people, I would love to know data. Like, I wish Poshmark shared their analytics more with us. I would love to know how many people are actually on the app shopping at any given hour, and then what percentage of people are actually going into the shows. I feel like it's probably a very small percentage of people, and this is just based on live shows and how many people are buying items, and are these buyers versus resellers, you know what I mean? Like, looking at this, all this kind of different data that I can observe and speculate. Oh my gosh, this is straight speculation. But I just don't see, like, at some point you have to look at how many of the shoppers on the app are actually interested now in live shows. That's what I would love to know. I think it's also like, to me, the annoyance falls into the same as, you know, how sharing and likes fall into the same little group category. So you can turn on off notifications for sharing and liking, but they have them grouped together. They are two totally different tasks. I do not care who shares my closet, how many people, like, that does not matter to me. What matters to me is when people are purchasing, or not purchasing, like liking my items or hearting my items. And I don't understand why we clump those two things together. Why can't we make that choice? It's like Poshmark is like, if you want to know who's liking your items, I'm also going to tell you who is sharing your items. And it's notification overload is what it is. And I feel like because they have notifications for so many different tasks on the app, it's overload. Like, at some point, I think they're going to start driving people away from the app, because something that drives me nuts about Whatnot and kind of turns me off about Whatnot is the amount of push notifications that they do. It is annoying. It's annoying. I've shut off notifications for Whatnot because I find it to be such a nuisance throughout the day. And Poshmark is like times 10 right now. I don't know. I hope they're looking at the data and the analytics of when they're making these changes and how it's affecting the shoppers on the app. I don't know, guys. This topic has me heated. Like, I can feel it when I'm talking to you guys. The blood is pumping through my veins about this. I'd love to know, what do you guys think about this? Where do you stand with this? I think I know where everyone is. We're all on the same page. You guys are my tribe, and it is annoying. At what point do they start making changes? I don't know. And I just keep thinking it's going to fizzle off. Like, live selling is going to fizzle off. Everyone's going to try it. They're going to try doing a couple shows. It's a lot of work for very little return. I mean, I guess there's lots of resellers that, don't know their ROI and don't care and, will spin their wheels. But I find live selling right now is a big wheel spinner unless you're just using it to liquidate inventory. And I've said this before, if you're just using it to liquidate inventory, I would go to a buy, sell, trade store and get cash, because after you pay fees on items that are like $10, your commission rate in Canada turns into 40%, and in the States it's 30%. And plus your cost of goods, you're probably better to take it to a buy, sell, trade store. That's just my thoughts on it. But there's all different business models. Everyone can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. But I want everyone to be aware. Please make good decisions for your business. And I don't know if live selling is it. I don't think it's works for my business. I don't know. I might do one a month, and it'll be more for like drops, like maybe some really cool pieces that I found sourcing over the month. But I don't think I will source strictly for shows, because it's a lot of work, a lot of time, and it's a big roll of the dice. Okay, I'm done. I don't even want to talk about live shows anymore. Let's talk about taxes. So I received a message from someone, and they said they received a letter from the government of Canada saying that they had to get a GST number. And if you're a viewer, I think it was like a very valid question. And I just want to say, I know where you're coming from, but I think it's a good topic to talk about with other people. So she received a letter, and I asked her, I said, did you sell more than $30,000 gross last year? And she said, yes. I said, you don't have our GST number? She said, no. I said, you will owe GST for the previous year. So if you live in Canada, and this is not tax advice, I'm just like, this needs to be said. And I think especially now that Poshmark is collecting taxes on our behalf, I personally think the CRA is going to start cracking down more. So if you have sold, it's not if you have made more than $30,000, it's if you have gross sold over $30,000, you need to register for a GST number. I don't know what the numbers are in the States. If you run yours like a business and you have a license and all that kind of stuff, can you drop it down below? At what point in the US do you have to start remitting federal tax? But basically, yeah, you have to submit federal tax. So some of the things that you're going to have to do is get like a business license, and that's going to be in your province. If you're down in the States, it's going to be by your state. And then you also need some sort of taxation number that you're going to claim your taxes on. I do not mean to be a Debbie Downer. This is not everyone's going to get caught, but I do think they can audit you up to 7 years. And I think they are cracking down on the secondhand market, especially e-commerce. There's a lot of money trading hands. And we know this in our industry, that if someone isn't paying taxes, I think the government's onto it now. Like, they're really onto it. And I just want you to make sure you have your butt covered. And what I always recommend is that you talk to your accountant. And if you don't have an accountant, this is the point where you should probably be seeking one out, because we're going to be coming up to the end of the year soon. If you're unsure, all I would type in into Google would be an e-commerce accountant. Those two words together, e-commerce and accountant, and you should get a list of a couple. E-commerce is a really common thing. Like, you got to think of Etsy sellers, eBay sellers. Lots of people just run online stores. That's all e-commerce. It doesn't necessarily have to be resell, but those accountants have probably done continuing education and have knowledge in that market. So find someone that knows about it, that understands it. If your accountant doesn't, if they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, you should probably find another one, okay? Because this is important. This is your business. This is potential money that they can come back after you for, and no one wants to get back taxed. So here is my warning to you. If you have met that threshold, you need to find a proper accountant. Do your taxes. It's probably going to be less than what you think it is, because there are things that can negate the federal tax that you'll owe, but your accountant will know all of that. They're going to tell you all that information. You can also do some Google searching. A lot of the information I found before I even went to my accountant. So I was prepared. Last year was my first year, passing that threshold. And I was already prepared before I got to my accountant, and I knew what kind of things I needed. Again, I'm not going to talk about everything here in this video because I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant. Everything you can Google search and then find an accountant, get someone doing your taxes for you. I just had to say it because this is a topic, and I know a lot of people are like, can you do a video on taxes? Can you do a video on, claiming and how to do everything? And honestly, my accountant does that all. All they do is give me a spreadsheet and I fill it out, and I keep all my numbers. I have all my receipts. I claim part of my house because I use 2 bedrooms in my house. So there's a lot of things that you can claim as a business when you turn it into a business, instead of running it just as when you're only making like $10,000-$15,000 and you're just kind of going to pay your income tax on it. There's a point where I think it is better to get a business and write all those things off. But that's just what I think, and I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to say everyone's gonna get caught, but I just think everyone needs to be cautious, especially with e-commerce becoming such a big thing right now. And then on the topic of taxes, I wanted to talk about year end. So year end is coming. This is the point where I would start organizing your receipts. So some of the tasks that I do is I keep all the receipts that I buying, sourcing. I also will print off and generate all the invoices for things that I buy for my business offline. So everything for my business, like my poly mailers, my Rolo labels, stickers, everything and anything, I actually buy it off Amazon just because it's easier for me to track it. So right now, probably in the next couple weeks is when I start to go through our Amazon orders, and I will back print all the receipts. If you do this every month, good on you. You are way better than I am. But I typically will allot a couple days at the end of the year where I'm just kind of hunkering down on all these things. And then I have some spreadsheets where I keep track of expenses. So maybe big things that I bought. Maybe I bought a ring light to use or a new box light. I claimed all the shelving that I use. You guys can't, I'm tapping on the shelving, but all the shelving and the bins like that, I all claimed through my business. Any apps that I use. So like Photo Room, what else? Canva I have a couple things for YouTube. I claim all those. Any education. So say you paid for someone's course, say someone had a reseller course or like a sourcing course and you took that, you can claim that. Like anything that you have spent for your business, you need to keep track of. And this is the time where I think you should start to get on top of it and get everything ready so that it's quick and easy at the end of the year. Nothing is more stressful than trying to remember everything, you know what I mean, a month before your taxes are due. So yeah, this is a friendly reminder. I'm throwing it out there. End of the year is coming. Time for us to get our business in order. And if you already do it, kudos to you. Send me the vibe. Send me the energy I need to like be better at that. Maybe that'll be my resolution for 2023 is to manage my business better. And then one other tip, I guess I'll throw this in here. Something that I did really early on is I actually opened up a separate bank account that I use for all my business stuff. So I have a separate debit card. All the payouts that I get, so say from Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, things like that, those all go directly into my business account. And then anytime I'm outsourcing, I'm always using the debit card for that account. And I try and do cash in, cash out through that bank account so that I know if like I'm spending more than I'm making. You know what I mean? Like for me, as long as that bank account keeps growing, then I'm doing good. But that I found that really helped keep my finances separate. And it is a lot easier for me because reselling is not my sole income. So I'm not spending that money on too many personal things. But I did find this last year that I have started to use some of that money for personal use. And that was part of kind of reducing my shifts at work and then putting a little bit more into my reselling and YouTube. And then I've started to pull some more money out of my business in that sense. But yeah, that's like a pro tip for me. That's what I think. Like, I think one of the things that really like changed how I managed the money in my business was opening up a separate account and keeping my reselling money separate from my personal money. And not that you can't spend your resale money, but if everything goes into one pool and you're not financially organized or, doing month end every month, I think it's really hard to keep track of your profits too. And then having that separate bank account is also an easy way for you to save for taxes, because a lot of times you can set things up online where you're pulling out, a certain percentage every month, and that is being held for when tax season comes. And that helps as well, kind of be prepared for that. I feel like what I like to do is kind of I always have this running tally in my head of what I think my net profits are that I'm going to be paying taxes for, and just making sure that I am always like, I have that money tucked away. So no matter what, I always have that money tucked away. Okay, we're kind of coming to the end. I had one more topic, and then I think we're going to do some positive shout outs. I totally forgot to do that in the last video. And I think with a lot of these like kind of tea topics, you know what I mean? They're not always really positive. I want to end the show on a good note. So the next thing I just want to talk about is there is still no bundling for live shows, and they promised us that on the 21st, and I did the training literally like a week and a half before that, and they were still saying that. And then they came out, I think earlier this week or maybe Friday last week, telling everyone, yeah, we're not ready. It's going to be another couple weeks. Oh my gosh, like your only job right now is to figure out this beta testing and better improve the experience. How has this been running for like, I don't know, I feel like this has been running for 6 to 8 weeks, and we still do not have bundling as a feature. Like, it blows my mind. It's not like they're worried about cross-border shipping or anything like that. It's literally Canada to Canada, US to US, and we still have to do all the bundling ourselves. That was one more thing that chapped my butt this week. I was like, really? Another thing that Poshmark just hasn't figured out. Oh well, not surprised. This is just like the MO right now. And yeah, gives us lots to talk about, that's for sure. I mean, Posh failing on so many levels just gives us so many topics and things to talk about. All right, I'm done ranting. No more negativity. We're letting it flow out. Let's do some shout outs. Let's shout out something positive, something good this week in your business. And I know, and you know what? It doesn't have to be your business. It could be just your personal life if you want. I know sales are tough. A lot of people are struggling. So it's not like we're going to have any, but maybe there's other small wins that you've had in your business. Okay. So for me, my shout out is going to be, I actually listed a bunch of items and I don't even know. I think I listed probably 20 to 25 items this week. I did have a lot of other things on my plate, but yeah, I listed 20 to 25 items and I cross-listed over to eBay, which I haven't been doing in a couple weeks. And then when I did that what sold, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had really any eBay sales, but I haven't been cross-listing over there. So I was like, hey, I got to keep prioritizing this. Poshmark sales suck. So when Poshmark sales suck, I have to cross-list to other platforms. And this is going to be my shameless plug. If you aren't using any cross-listing software, I use Prime Lister. I have a link below and you can try it for 7 days free. But yeah, I love it. It saves me so much time. But really, like any software will work. You do whatever works for you. Yeah, so I think that would be my win. My win would be I got some listings up. I haven't been doing as much listing the last couple weeks and I was cross-listing too. So I'd love to hear, what are your wins? What is something you want to shout out that just, was good this last week? All right, I am so looking forward to reading all of your comments. I love everything you guys share and all your insights, and I love your honesty because we can all have different opinions and run our businesses differently and still be successful and still be friends and still be a community. We don't have to agree on everything, right? Okay, I'm going to let you guys go. I am out of here. I am wishing you all many sales. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.